Welcome to What Would It Cost? Today we're here with Peter Triantos. He's internationally recognized and hyper-local to Toronto.
Thank you, thank you, Michael and Nick, for having me here. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
And congrats on all the stuff you guys are doing right off the bat.
Thank you. Appreciate
Exciting.
it. Yeah. No, it's exciting too, just watching all this amazing stuff you're doing with developers, people's homes, luxury homes, all that. So it's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, before we get into it, give us a bit about your background, how you got into art, where that passion came from, and what made you go full time with it.
Art is something that I was very lucky at a young age that I found out that I was like... I immersed myself in it at a very young age, around grade 3. I realized that it was something that I couldn't get away from, but it took me a while to do it as a profession, a career.
Right.
It's not something that all of a sudden I'm an artist. I wake up and, it takes time and you develop as a person, and your career goes along with that. I mean, if I've been doing almost every job that there is. I was a waiter, a busboy, a bartender, a carpenter for like 15 years. So I've done almost everything, and I took the scenic route, so to say.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I guess that definitely gives you different experiences, different walks of life that you're interacting with. So it's awesome to have that experience and then bring it back into the art world, and then you could use that for yourself for future growth.
Definitely. I think you have to explore. You have to work at different various jobs and careers and find what you want to do. And it helps in your arsenal. You're all going to use all these, all the knowledge that you acquire. It's going to definitely help in whatever you choose to be. So yeah,
absolutely,
it's good.
Yeah, those experiences shape you as an artist, right? And that's the expression that's coming out of you when you're drawing. And even for me, witnessing it a few times, that energy that you get up there with and what you start creating, it's
try to tone it down a bit.
Yeah,
trying to tone it down.
No, don't ever, man. I feel like that's one of your strong points, and everyone knows when Peter Triantos shows up, like it's gonna hit different, and yeah.
I love that you say that, because I remember I was painting live in New York. A young composer asked me if I would play to music, and I said, yeah. He was like shocked. I said, of course. I flew into New York, and I was like, it felt like a racehorse just dying to get going. Like the music was warming up and I was just foaming, you know what I mean? And when I got going, like it's just a natural feel. I love the fear of the unknown. That's what drives me. Is the fear of, I hate practice. I know practice makes perfect, but the unknown always creates magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hence the call this morning. What's this all about today?
Exactly.
Every guest has been prepped for weeks prior. What are we doing? Where's this going?
Yes. And I kind of, I've maybe it's not perfect for everybody.
No, it's amazing.
I wouldn't suggest it. For sure, I'll get caught with one day with my foot in my mouth, but I kind of love it. I love just being honest and truthful, and I love to hear what you guys say. I don't want to look at a rehearsal. And,
absolutely.
I'm here
I think
to
that's
enjoy.
the best way too. Is you just naturally flow. It doesn't make it feel so scripted that you're just like a robot talking. That's it.
Yeah, of course.
So Pete, we found that when we were curating the lineup for the What Would It Cost shows, we were looking at your name. We were saying, how cool would it be to start educating the audience in the industry in regards to what art makes, its impact in the real estate industry. So what does that impact look like in regards to driving prices up for when stagers and designers incorporated in their program? What does it look like for when developers and builders come to you and say, we have X amount of budget that we have to allocate towards the art industry, and come into our build here and bring it to life, right? Like what does that start to do for the real estate industry?
Well,
how has that impacted it?
Yeah, a wonderful question, and it absolutely enhances every part of the builder or the real estate. I mean, to add art is to add flavor to a meal. I mean, people know right away when they see a piece. They recognize faces. They recognize art. Is that a Picasso? Is that a Triantos on the wall? It adds value. It can escalate the home into a different level if you're carrying great art. And if you're staging with just decorative pieces, I understand that as well, but it won't make. People can see it. Authenticity is key here. You want to use authentic pieces. You want to use artists that are authentic, true, and stay away from, decorative pieces that really aren't saying nothing. So it offers a lot. I mean, in a home, it changes the environment. I mean, me as a kid, my uncle was an artist, and he sent us paintings via airplane or even ship at that time, and they hung on over the fireplace. And as a young kid, I would go on those dreamy 10 minutes or 15 minutes and fly through the paintings in another world.
That's awesome.
That's what I think art offers, and I see it. I bring jelly bean paintings to houses. That's one of my series, and the kids already have the drawings, and they're like, "Wow!" So I see. We had an 18-month-old young child, almost give a standing ovation when the painting went on the wall.
It's awesome.
So they feel it.
Yeah,
they feel the flavor, and it makes a important statement. It enhances every part. I think it helps in the transaction. It's worked for us in the homes we've staged, the builders we've worked with, and nobody wants to see bare walls.
Yeah, exactly.
Truly.
Or your basic IKEA or HomeSense stock art. Yeah,
yes.
no, it brings out the expression in the home and in the people as well. It's their expression, the artist's expression on the wall. It's awesome.
It's just spice to a great meal. Yeah. You have a wonderful home. You have a beautiful environment. It's just shimmering and waiting for that spice of whether it's,
bring out the flavor.
Peppers or whatever you're going to put there. You choose. I think that's what art does. It complements.
Well, that's awesome. We're going to take a short break.
All
and
right.
When we get back, we're going to talk about what would it cost to commission your own piece.
We take care of everything. Well, almost everything. Our mortgage agents are dedicated to propelling your financial goals. Spark Financial Group, where finance creates freedom.
Welcome back to What Would It Cost? We're here with world famous artist Peter Triantos, but he lives hyper local. We're lucky enough to have him in our own backyard here in Toronto. And we're going to hop right back into it and ask this gentleman, what would it cost to commission you and get a painting done by you?
In terms of dollars, it starts at around $10K and moves all the way up. Okay. But, and that's something I don't really like to talk about is, price. But it's important to have art in a home.
Yeah.
Even when you're staging, it's very important.
Right.
The price can escalate in a very quick way. Sale can happen a lot faster when you're using authentic art, original art pieces. We've seen it.
So
we broke some records.
To talk about that, Pete. Well, so you'll do two. You have two separate services where you'll have rentals. Art for rental through the stagers, designers, or even the homeowners if they want to contact you direct, and they're doing that. And then you'll have art that you're commissioning where you'll do piece by piece. Yeah. So how does
the commissions would be to say, you have a wall that's unusual size, 10 feet by 8 feet, large piece. That's a commission. With those, I usually do two pieces. They pick from one, just to make it a bit easier for them. They kind of have an input on that, on the commission. The rentals, they pick from the website. There's an array of wonderful paintings, different series, Jelly Bean series, Black and White series, Soft Sand series, SP2 series, many series, Napa Valley series. And basically, you know, what the paintings kind of do is they allow for a window to an imaginary landscape. You know, they give a breath of fresh air, to be honest with you. Right. You know, once you install a work, it makes a tremendous difference. You know, looking just at a bare wall, everybody likes minimalism, but when you add the art, it just adds another dimension. Truly,
right.
A much finer home. You'll see the home will just light up.
Yeah,
it brings the light in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it adds, like we were saying, it adds that spice, that flair, that expression.
Yes.
To the home, and I think even to the point about, you know, we're looking at new developments. Funny enough, we were looking at a condo development that's completed the other day, and we are just saying like how lively it looks in there. It's like, yeah, I'd buy a place here because it's not just dull walls. They had an art piece, they had neon signs, they had like wallpaper like this. It brings it out and makes you like
elements.
We're saying like, yeah, like let's purchase a place here because it gives you that liveliness. Absolutely, yeah.
So, and the unit was just like a standard unit.
Yeah.
It was a standard like 500 square foot condo unit, 1 bedroom. Nothing stood out in there in regards to finishes. Like they were all nice and whatnot, but what really stood apart, what made that building stood apart, was the art and the activations that were happening within and throughout the building. Right? It just made it drew you to it. Right? And we were like, yeah. Called the realtor. We're like, hey, we're interested in this.
Yeah, of course. You don't forget. I mean, you know, people love familiarity. They recognize faces. Look, I've been in Korea and I've seen people there that I knew. It's crazy. Wow, there he is. And they recognize. You know, art lovers are a very rare breed in that they can accept. You know, they're not rigid. They can open up and look at a piece, and they're a very rare group. And Toronto has a tremendous abundance of them, and we're very fortunate here.
Yeah. 2 favorite artists. I know you got a bunch of them, but your 2 favorite ones from back in the day that aren't
obviously
around.
I'm gonna have to say, you know, Picasso. I love Rembrandt. There's so many great paintings, painters, Veronese, so many great painters.
Right.
But to name 2 is a limitation. You know, it's like saying, you know, to eat the same food every day. I love so many different dishes, just like so many different artists. There's always room to add another one to the repertoire.
Absolutely.
And I was lucky enough to see a Picasso piece in your collection that was dusted on the wall, right?
Well, you know,
you had so many pieces down there, and I was just like, whoa, that was my first time that I'd seen a Picasso. But tell us a little bit about how you're also a collector too.
I'm a collector. I kind of toned it down a bit now, you know, being older, and try to stay away from that. It can get, you know, a little bit stressful collecting, you know, but I've helped authenticate paintings, found paintings in the catalog raisonné, important works, and collecting for me has, I believe, made me a much better artist. I want to know the history. You don't have to know the history. You can go in and do your own thing and you're totally original. But I like to know the history, going back to the 16th century, 15th century, 17th century, 19th century, early 20th century, abstract expressionism, impressionism, whatever you got. And it's good to know. And there's tons of tremendous artists. But having said that, I mean, Instagram on its own has created a flurry. Because, you know, I was a kid growing up. To be an artist, it was a very difficult thing, you know. How are you going to make any money? I mean, artists today, because of places like social media, are off. You know, you have your art, you show it. People like it, they buy it. So it has, you know, I know doctors and lawyers that are leaving their practices to become artists.
Right.
You know, that was unheard of.
Yeah, you're really able to express yourself and create a business out of it. Like, through social media, which
Yes.
it's awesome because we talk about with a lot of other entrepreneurs as well, is like how social media is expanding and growing their business. And to your point, I never even thought of that, where you think of before, it's like
Social
how are you
media.
gonna make money as an artist, whereas now it's like people are seeing it, they scrolling through like, okay, I want to buy this piece, commission
Exactly.
this piece. I was looking at some of the Jelly Bean ones, so where else would I, like, I'm not gonna go walk around to a gallery or see one off the street, but I came across the page before we met, and I'm like, some really cool stuff on here.
See, thank you. So, like, the way I actually opened my own gallery is I walked into a gallery. I was about 17, 18 years old, and it was like a surgical feel. Very nervous. I walked in, and I saw the owner, and I turned to him. I said, I'm an artist. Maybe I can help in restoring or whatever you need. And he looked at me, and he said, how did you get in here? And I remember the feeling. I said, I never want to go through that. I felt like, I quickly said, how much is that? Let me try to buy that, just to, I remember the feeling, and I said, you know what, I never want to go through that. I felt so small. I said, and I opened my own gallery, and, I got a lot of slack at the time. People were saying it was unethical to sell your own art through your own gallery. But I did it, and now it's very common. Mm-hmm. And so social media, people talk about it in a bad way. It's just what you do, You can spread good things, or you could spread mayhem. Yeah. But so I think social media plays a big role in influencing, and a lot of tremendous artists out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And tell us, craziest story with art being involved that you've gone through, whether traveling or a crazy commission you had got.
Crazy story. There's a lot of crazy stories, but having to just say one crazy story, dealing with authentication, how some of the big, auction houses deal with it and stuff like that, really, they're like tellers. There's no real love in the game. So I've had a lot of fun in proving them wrong and stuff. And, you'll get like responses, because I look like my sister, I am not my sister. But, look at the work, look at the painting, look at the canvas, look at the weave, what century is it? Is it relined, etc.? Does it need cleaning? And then, there's a lot of important works are out there, and they're just waiting to be found. It's not just about monetary value. It plays a role, but these works are important, and I love playing the private eye, to be honest with you.
Nice,
and that's, I don't want to say too many crazy stories, but that's a bit of a story for another
being that
time.
private eye to help
The
out,
art world is a fascinating place. I could talk about it for days on end. So usually my wife will pull me and say, tone it down. So it is a fascinating place. And if you guys, more than welcome to come to the studio. I think Nick has been there.
Yeah. But I want to talk about the investment value with collecting as well. Because besides the fact, of course, of having that in your home, increasing the value when you have to sell, there's also value with collecting, like you said, that you have the Picassos and all that. So what's that look like? Is it, let's say the housing market, it does have its peaks and troughs, it goes up and down. Yeah. Watches, Rolexes, they go. How is it with art? Is it like a slow growth? Is there an increase and a decrease?
Well, if you're buying 19th century British portraits in the early 20th century, you would have lost a lot of money. But art does play a bit. But the fact is, a guy like me, I bought my first building on one painting, so that was my deposit.
Wow.
It's the highest on the pyramid. Real estate, it helped me acquire a building. I mean, it is the highest on the pyramid of investing. Mm-hmm. And really, there's not much risk. But to familiarize yourself with the game, and to listen to advice, and then try to not just listen to a dealer and buy, but to actually start to enjoy it. If I tell you stuff and try to teach you stuff and you don't like it, you're not going to learn.
Right.
But if you love it, you're like a sponge. You soak it all up immediately, and that's what happened to me in the art world. I felt just, it was a beautiful world for me, to be honest with you. I got to stay away from it now. I try to stay away from it now because I have acquired a lot of art, and you have to put the brakes on slowly. And I still acquire, but very select. It's a wonderful world, and there's a lot of magic.
What determines the price of these, and ongoing? What continues to determine how the art appreciates, and what are the factors in that?
Yeah, for sure. Good question, Nick. Rarity, demand, uniqueness. I mean, if you have a 17th century painting, that is an unknown painting, but the subject is unreal, and it hasn't been seen. That's a very valuable painting, regardless. The way it's painted. Can you compare a 17th century painting? Let's just put it this way. $1 million painting is not going to scream out at you and tell you, hey, look at me. Yeah. I'm worth $1 million. You have to have knowledge. But with knowledge, you can stare at a blank canvas and say, wow. It can go too far, right?
Right.
That's cool. Sure. We were just at the Tony Robbins conference, and he referred to it like the money and all the materialistic items is a byproduct of the success, right? And the success, is determined by how passionate you are about that journey. So we were talking about it a little earlier. You're so passionate about what it is you do, and you show up with a really high energy, and then that shows in the art, and then the art is able to sell for great money, and then that's the byproduct kind of thing, right? So
exactly. Yeah. It's for me, I want to kind of make sure that look, I'm not going to say that I love every piece that I do. I got to be, obviously I'm not happy with every piece, and that's the artist side of me. I don't get the buzz that people get from my art. It's like a chef, probably doesn't enjoy his own cooking, but, I want to make sure that I put as much effort as I could into a piece, and I'm not just cheating and playing, And time doesn't really matter, because if I throw some paint and it's only minutes or whatever, seconds, I want to throw it without any holding back.
Right.
I just want to explode onto the canvas. And that's what it is for me, right? Yeah. It's being authentic, right? Because that's what you have to offer is, the greatest artists throughout history, it's not the guys who are the most talented. It's the guys who are the most authentic, unique. And we're all unique beings. The more that we can stop pretending we're somebody else, then guess what? That's, you look at any profession, real estate sales, uniqueness brings them to the top. Tony Robbins, very unique, very, and aggressive, being aggressive. If I'm showing you the right road, where I believe that road I'm taking you is going to be the better road, then I'm going to be aggressive and say, Michael, let's go. This is the road, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
showing up
you don't want to have an agent or somebody saying, well, do you like it? I don't know. You know what I mean? You want to buy a home, and you got to be excited about what you're buying. Right?
You're looking for them to guide you. That's
exactly. Like you guys just made a purchase. How did you feel about it? You can't wait to get in.
Exactly.
And that's exactly how I feel when I start a canvas. I can't wait to rip it apart, and I don't look at a blank canvas and have any fear. I look at it, and I can't wait to just whip. I'm not going to ruin the canvas. It's just the canvas. And I see a lot of people afraid to go up there and doing it. Your life has to be like that. You can't be afraid of mistakes. You have to take chances. And of course, it's not going to be easy. There's going to be some, ups and downs, but that's what makes it such a beautiful place.
Right.
If you were laughing every day, it's not a circus life. Like, I don't want to say it in a rude way. They would lock you up. You can't be laughing every day. Laughter is so good because you cry, you laugh. It rains. It's a sunny day. It's cold. It's hot.
Oh, very well
I
said.
think you guys know what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, very well said.
Thank
You know what? I think this. I don't know why this image came to my head, but I feel like you could do a commission even if someone put you in a straitjacket.
Brush with his
You know what?
nose.
I think you would figure it out, and it
I
would
think-
still be like a top-notch piece. You
To
know,
be honest
Mr.
with you-
Triantos in a straitjacket.
And you know what?
That's what we're gonna get him to do.
Listen, I would, you know,
Would you
the thing
embrace
is
that
this:
challenge?
you gotta be a bit crazy to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
You know, if you're just following everything everybody tells you, Nick, this is who you are.
Yeah.
You're a real estate agent.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's
No,
not
you're a
like
very
that.
complex being.
Yeah.
You got children, you got girlfriends, wives, whatever it is. People are very complex. They might look like, you know, he's a Jim the plumber or Bill the electrician. It's not like that, Peter the artist. We're human beings, you know what I mean? The straitjacket thing.
We're gonna do it. We're
Yeah,
gonna
I
do
was
it.
crazy enough to believe in myself, and I push that so much to kids. You gotta build your foundation. You can go to university, school is very important, but if you're not building your foundation and you're not believing in yourself, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Because you know what? If you need guidance of what is the next road, you got to take that chance. I'm going to buy this building. And I just go like that. Like when
Yeah.
I seen my studio ball, I just
That's
started.
exactly how we snap call
Yeah.
on it for sure.
It has
Yeah.
to be passion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what drives us. When I get up in the morning, it's like this. Boom.
Yeah.
I'm up, I'm out. If I don't have any excitement in my life, you're like, wow. You don't
Yeah.
want to get up like that.
Right.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
No, that's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. And it's an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Nick and Michael, you guys are amazing. And I look forward to seeing what magic you guys got in store.
Thank you. Appreciate
Appreciate
that.
it, Petey.
Of course.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it. And thank you again for everyone for tuning in for this week's episode. Be sure to check us out next week.
And I promise you, at the New Spark headquarters, Mr. Triantos' commission is going to be right at the front, and we're going to talk more about him doing it in a straitjacket.
This is amazing. The straight jacket. Stay tuned now.
Because that's a real conversation piece, if you
I'd
ask
like to
me.
see. I'd like to see. Nick always comes up with this crazy. Beautiful.
Love it.
Coming up on What Would It Cost?
I know real estate's such a hot button issue right now, and you see a lot of doom and gloom just from the headlines specifically. But on the flip side, we've also had, you know, the supply issue that's driven the GTA or even the Ontario or the Canadian real estate market get way worse over this. So it's going to be a balance going forward, I think.
I agree with the whole balance thing. Things are still moving. If properties are priced right, if they're presented right, they will sell. The inventory thing is still an issue. It's just the buyers are on the sidelines right now because of the headlines and the news and the media.
Real estate was out of control for the last 2 years, and in a way, this is a kind of a good thing that is shaped up to be the way it is. I think there are opportunities in the marketplace, but it's not for everyone. And sometimes what we have to do is, if we can't jump in, we got to buckle down, we got to save, and we got to plan for it. 2023, we'll start to see things sort of take shape for the better.